Hello, I'm Walt Frazier, and welcome to this edition of the NBA Dynasty Series, the New York Knicks, The Complete History. We're here at Madison Square Garden, where I helped to make some of that history as a player back in the 70s. For 6 decades, the Knicks have been electrifying and mesmerizing fans at the Garden, and we'll chronicle the team's tradition in this special DVD collection. The Knicks began to percolate in the early 50s, when they made 3 straight trips to the finals with the dazzling Tricky Dick McGuire, Sweetwater Clifton, and Harry the Horse Gallatin. The team also had a riveting run in the 1980s when Bernard King reigned supreme, and the teams of the 90s were perennial contenders with center Patrick Ewing as the backbone. But the golden age was the early 70s, when the Knicks won 2 NBA titles with Bill Bradley, Dave DeBusschere, the captain, Willis Reed, and a smooth guard with a stylish wardrobe known as Clyde. Those teams were truly special, but they're just part of the Knicks' legacy, and we have captured it all with documentaries, profile of the team legends, and actual broadcasts of some of the Knicks' greatest games, including one that I never get tired of watching, Game 7 of the 1970 Finals. It's all here at your fingertips, so sit back and enjoy the complete history of the New York Knicks.
He has earned a place in NBA history and in the hearts of Knick fans. And Walt Frazier remains a New York icon as an analyst on Knick broadcasts.
Ward, a demon on the D, now looking to push it up.
Isolating and devastating, invincible, indefensible.
The Knicks play with fire and desire. They've done so now. They're up by 1.
Clyde has been in the New York spotlight for over 3 decades now, and Madison Square Garden is a place where it all began. Frazier became the Knicks' first-round draft choice in 1967. He brought his style and charisma to the Big Apple and his talent to the Knicks. Clyde helped them begin their drive to the top of the NBA in the late 60s.
The great thing about Clyde, I think, is he loved to play basketball. He basically was a great team player and a great person.
Clyde, Walt, he was a marvelous talent. I thought that in my whole professional career, all the guys I played with in the Knicks, he was by far the best athlete, total talent.
Beautiful pass from Frazier.
Clyde was a guy who came out and he was a tremendous competitor. And certainly there are things that he did that I admired.
Frazier again did it. Isn't that something?
As New York's floor leader, Frazier was earning a reputation as one of the game's best playmakers. But he also made his mark with crafty defense, turning the steal into a key weapon.
Again, Frazier took it away.
Sometimes I could see in guys' faces when the crowd started yelling, defense, defense, their eyes were blank. Then I tried to get all over them. And I think the rest of my teammates sensed the same thing.
He was an opportunistic player on defense. He took risks that often paid off.
Intercepted by Frazier. Across the midcourt line, cuts to his left. Now stops and jumps. Yes!
He had this intense will to win, and it lurked right beneath that calm surface.
Clyde was synonymous with cool, on and off the court. Like, the kids really liked the way I dressed, and on the court I was a poker face.
Clyde's cool under pressure was never more important than in Game 7 of the 1970 NBA Finals. The championship was at stake against the powerful Los Angeles Lakers, but the Knicks faced the daunting prospect of having to play without their injured captain, Willis Reed.
Only when I went to the Garden did I find out that it was dubious as to whether he would play.
The big question is, will Willis Reed play tonight? There is tremendous doubt right now.
So there goes the championship. I mean, because without him, I didn't think we could win at all.
Here comes Willis, and the crowd is going wild.
Reed's electrifying entrance took center stage, but it was Frazier who stole the show.
Well, Willis provided the inspiration, and, in a way, I provided the devastation.
Stolen by Frazier. Out of the backcourt. Down the lane with the floater, but it's good! West across the midcourt, loses to Frazier. Drives ahead of the field, down the lane, layup is good.
In a remarkable performance, Clyde finished with 36 points, 19 assists, and 5 steals as the Knicks routed the Lakers and won the first championship in their 25-year history.
That is it. The New York Knickerbockers have won the 1969-70 World Championship of Basketball.
That 1970 championship team carved out a special place in New York sports lore. But Frazier would add one more glorious chapter to Knicks history. 3 years later, he led them past the Lakers once again for their second NBA title.
I was just a young man then. It was like a dream come true. I was in the mecca for basketball as a superstar. It's indelibly etched in my mind, those years and what we accomplished every day that I awake. When I wear my rings, I put them on with a lot of pride because I know that, hey, that's what it was all about. It's been called the world's most famous arena. It's also been called the Mecca of basketball. It's Madison Square Garden. There's no brighter stage for an NBA player and no better atmosphere for a big game. Over the years, the Knicks have had many glorious moments at the Garden, from the night we won our first championship in 1970 to Patrick Ewing's thunderous dunk that sent the Knicks to the '94 finals. I've gotten to know this place pretty well during my years as a Knicks player and a broadcaster. So I thought I would take you behind the scenes and give you my own guided tour inside the magical world of Madison Square Garden. Now we're entering the hallway to the Knicks locker room. A lot of times before the game, you see the players in a huddle. This is where it happens.
Here they come.
But right now, this is a very profound moment for me as I view the 2 championship Knicks teams, 1970, 1973. I'm often asked what was the difference in the team, which was a better team. The 70 team to me was epitomized teamwork. You can't say Frazier without Reed, without Bradley, without DeBusschere. We were so synonymous with team, and defense was the catalyst for that team. The 73 team was a more talented team. We acquired Earl the Pearl. We had Jerry Lucas on that team. So but both teams are very dear to me, and now just standing here, I get chills looking at my former teammates and coaches. And now let me show you the Knicks locker room. Wow. This locker room is indicative to the metamorphosis the NBA has undergone with all the astronomical salaries, all the coaches, and the grandeur and the hoopla now that perpetuates the league. When I played, we had a little cubby hole locker room. I didn't even have a place to hang my mink coat. Actually, the trainer had to hang it in his locker room. But when I'm in locker rooms, I have so many memories of the league and when I played. So the camaraderie is what you miss most when you leave the game, especially if you play in New York. There's nothing like playing in the world's most famous arena. Now we're entering the sanctuary of the players. This is the training room. This is a place I tried to stay out of with injuries. You can't make the club if you're in the tub, we used to say. So, but our trainer, Danny Whalen, beloved trainer of the Knicks, actually bestowed me with the name Clyde. About 2 weeks before the movie Bonnie and Clyde came out, I bought this wide-brimmed hat down in Baltimore. So when I wore it into the locker room, Danny go, "Hey, look at Clyde." And that has been my moniker for now about 35 years. So it's something that I hold with a lot of pride as well. My most profound moment of the training room was 1970, the game in which Willis Reed limped into the court. He was sitting there. Everybody kept walking in there saying, "Willis, are you going to play?" Trying to find out what he was going to do. And actually, when we left the locker room, we had no idea whether he would play or not.
19,500 fans here in New York City have yet to see Willis Reed at this hour of the evening.
So we were just as astounded as everyone else when we came onto the court when we heard this big roar from the crowd. And obviously, Reed catapulted the Knicks to their first championship with his courage and playing when we know he could just barely walk. Just before going onto the court, the players were huddled here, adrenaline-filled huddle, say our little pep talk, we get all psyched up, then we head out. to me is reminiscent of the Roman Colosseum and the gladiators. You're going to come out here and all of a sudden there are 20,000 people yelling and screaming. But since we're in the world's most famous arena, we have no fear because we know they're yelling for us. And now we're sitting center court where I broadcast the Knicks games. How lucky am I doing something that I know and following the team that I used to play for now that I can call the games. Most of you folks now know I'm renowned for my rhyme, shaking and baking, wheeling and dealing.
Isolating and devastating, invincible, indefensible.
It's just a fun ride for me, and it continues at Madison Square Garden now as a Knicks broadcaster. So now we're giving you a history of the team. We went into the locker room, now the broadcast booth. So it's been very provocative for me, and I hope you've enjoyed your tour of the world's most famous arena as well. Thanks for joining me.